What up? What up?
That was funny, Mike. We'll get into that. Jeff Garcia released a little clip, and it's Ramona Shelburne, and she's talking
Yeah.
about what the Clippers did to her when she was asking Kawhi Leonard some tough questions. And you know what's funny? We're going to kind of talk about that because I believe the exact same thing will happen if a reporter for the San Antonio Spurs asks either one of the coaching staff or the players a tough question.
And that's a sad shame, because
back in the day they could ask them these. Well, you played a horrible game. What do you got to say for yourself? How is that a bad question?
I remember offending Tim Duncan when Duncan was in his second year in the NBA.
Yeah.
Because I asked him a very similar question, and he was not happy about it. But so is life these days. You have all these athletes who are sheltered by criticism. Remember Mike Gundy? I'm 40. Former Oklahoma State head coach. I'm 40. Don't go after my kids. Come after me. And then we lived the life of Greg Popovich, who, how dare you ever cross him?
Yeah.
But Joe, who was right about the whole Greg Popovich thing, how he should have retired a long time ago? Joe, you and me were right about that from the get-go.
Yeah, I got hate for it a long time ago when I said it might be time for him to go, and everyone was coming after me, and now it's like, what happened? What's his name now, Mike?
Kinda gone.
Gone. It is gone. Because now they have what? Mitch Johnson.
For how many years?
Who knows?
Who knows? They never announced it.
Area 210, where the dreams don't fade. From the river walk nights to the Alamo shade. We rise together through the highs and the lows. Area 210, oh, it's the life that we chose.
What's up, San Antonio? What's going on, South Texas? This is the Area 210 podcast powered by PF Chang's La Cantera. My name is Mike Jimenez. That's Joe Garcia. We're going to go for an hour today talking sports and pop culture and all sorts of things. Joe, how are you doing today on this Friday?
Yeah, I'm doing good. Just been busy as of late because with the government shutdown and stuff, we're having to do some things because we're still unaffected. Well, my division is anyway unaffected by the government shutdown, so we're still working, we're still doing our thing, but it's just been weird times, man. This happens right in the middle of us being so busy, and it's not just us, it's everybody as a whole, for the government being super busy right now. And now we're having to go through training, now we're having to do all these other things, and it's a lot happening near the end of the year. And as you well know, sometimes you have to take training and we have to as well, but we have to take training in order to retain our security clearance and be able to perform from some of our job duties. And the dates are nearing closure where we have to take these training modules in. It's been a lot because we're working, we're doing all these things, and of course it's affecting the show. You've been busy as well, so we apologize for that, but we got to earn.
Yeah, and next week we'll be back up to speed, man. Next week
Yeah.
we're going to be back up to speed doing a Monday through Friday. The government shutdown affecting Spernandez there in San Diego.
Yeah,
No,
my boy.
no Women's Day today. No Ladies' Day over at the Area 210 podcast today, but we do welcome
Yeah.
any females who are listening to today's show. How are y'all doing today? It's going to be a fun show today because we're going to preview the NFL Week 5. Lots going on in the NFL. We already had a game yesterday. We're going to, on Monday, update all our rankings for as far as how we're doing against the spread, how we're doing against the money line. We both had a good week last week. We'll tally all that up next week, but just looking at it, we did pretty good last week. So we've had 2 stellar weeks, 1 decent week, and 1 really bad week making these picks. The bad week, Joe, was week 1. That was the bad week. But now the season's kind of rounding into form. Lots of big games, lots of big injuries going on. I saw this stat, Joe, and I know that we don't talk a lot about fantasy sports, but out of the top 15 wide receivers taken in fantasy football this year, the ADP, the average draft position, only 3 are ranked in the top 15, and 3 are now out for the year. And we saw lots of injuries to Malik Neighbors, who's out for the year. We've seen injuries to CeeDee Lamb. We've seen injuries to Tyreek Hill.
Ooh.
receivers are dropping like flies. I was there on Monday Night Football, there at Miami at Hard Rock Stadium with
Yeah.
Chica. That was brutal.
You know what was
Joe.
funny, Mike? I saw somebody post this on social media the other day, and they had a picture, and it shows Joe Burrow, and it shows his toe, right? A picture of a toe,
Yeah.
like an ingrown toe. You know, it's red and all that because he has turf toe, and it says, "Breaking news." It says Joe Burrow was sacked twice during his turf toe surgery.
Well, and there's a lot to
Oh,
be said
gosh.
about that, Joe, because you know, there an offensive line is where it's at. It's not sexy, right? When you go to watch an NFL draft every April, you want to see a big name go off the board, right? You want to see Johnny Manziel drafted by the Dallas Cowboys. Instead, they go after like a Zach Martin type of guy, right? You want to see a big splash. You want to see an Ashton Genty from Boise State go into the Raiders. You don't want to see this offensive lineman, this corn-fed mofo from Iowa, from Mississippi State, going in the top 10. But that's what wins games. Look at CJ Stroud. CJ Stroud is running for his life right now. Is it that CJ Stroud sucks? Or is it that he's in a bad situation with a bad offensive line? Look at what's going on right now in Indianapolis with Danny Dimes. No longer Danny Dimes. It's Indiana Jones. Daniel Jones over there having a fantastic year. His past teammates there at the Giants were saying he was really good quarterback. He just didn't have an offensive line. And guess what? You block for him, you get to see what he can do. Baker Mayfield in Tampa Bay. The dude bounced around from Cleveland to Carolina, goes to Tampa Bay. You give him a good offensive line, and guess what happens, Joe?
He's a baller, man.
He's a baller. You keep the quarterback upright. Andrew Luck is somebody who called it a career at age 29. Why? They kept sacking his ass. Joe Burrow with turf toe. You got to keep these guys upright because it's no secret that the wide receiver, the tight end are important to the quarterback, but most important is the offensive line. And we're seeing that right now because the offensive lines that are holding up are winning games. That's why the Lions are winning games. That's why the Eagles are winning games.
Look what Sam Salinas is telling you.
Samson says, say that again, Mike. For all the crap that they've pulled, what's the one thing the Cowboys have done right all this time? Build the O-line. You know, they have addressed the offensive line. They did a fantastic job with that. And on top of that, you get a good running back in Javonte Williams off the trash heap.
Yeah, they all right.
Javonte Williams out rushing Saquon Barkley this year. It's an interesting thing that's going on. But again, you have the 32nd ranked defense in the league. That's the worst defense in the league, Joe. You're not
But you know what, Mike?
You're not going to win championships. You're not going to make playoffs with a 32nd ranked defense.
But I want you to say something here, man. You got to owe Dak Dakota Rain Prescott an apology because it's the return of the Dak, baby. Look at what this is right here.
Return of the Dak.
Look at that.
Return of the Dak.
Week 5, top 10 quarterback rankings. And what do we got here, Mike?
Okay.
Number 1, Josh Allen. Number 2, moving up 2 slots here. You got Patrick Mahomes. At number 3, Justin Herbert, who slipped 1. Lamar Jackson slipping as well at number 4. And who's at number 5? Going up, moving on up the ladder. Dakota Rain Prescott.
How do you quantify a top quarterback in rankings? Because like Lamar Jackson, by the way, is with a team that's 1-3, right? You have Dak Prescott who's 1-2-1. Are you trying to tell me is this rankings by this index by Nick Shook telling me that 2 of the 5 best quarterbacks in the league are with teams with losing records? Because I'm sorry, you cannot be a top 5 quarterback in the NFL with a losing record. I don't care how bad your defense is. That's a prerequisite. You got to win games in order to be in that conversation.
And what is the Cowboys' record? Your record says who you are.
Yeah,
what are they, Mike?
1-2-1.
And 1.
And Lamar Jackson 1-3. Patrick Mahomes 2-2.
Oh,
But
man.
but you know what? And you look at other players out there like Jalen Hurts, for example. Cowboy fans can't stand it whenever you say that Jalen Hurts is better than the Cowboys, Dak Prescott. But I go back to like Troy Aikman, Joe. Troy Aikman did not put up good stats. I mean, if you look at a historical accuracy of Troy Aikman was a baller in the playoffs. He was a baller in the Super Bowl. But regular season, the dude was pedestrian. Regular season, the guy had multiple seasons where he threw more interceptions than touchdowns. Now, I know that was a thing back in the 60s with Johnny Unitas and Joe Namath and all that stuff. Fran Tarkenton in the 70s, Terry Bradshaw, where you could throw more interceptions and touchdowns. But in the 90s and 2000s, that wasn't a thing. Troy Aikman was an average quarterback in the regular season, but was a baller when it mattered.
Yeah.
When it mattered in December and January and February, he balled out, and he's a Hall of Famer because of it. That's why Troy Aikman's never considered to be an all-time great.
Yeah.
Troy
But
Aikman
doesn't
was-
Troy Aikman have some of the biggest fingers that you've ever seen on a quarterback, Mike?
Kielbasa fingers, man. Troy Aikman. If you look at Troy Aikman and Eli Manning, they're kind of the same player. Eli
Oh,
Manning just
God.
didn't have as good of an offensive weaponry, didn't have the offensive line that Troy Aikman did. But what happened to Eli Manning? Eli Manning, average quarterback, but when it came time for the playoffs, if he did make the playoffs, what was he doing? Beating the 16-0, 17-0 New England Patriots, beating Tom Brady twice. I mean, there's a reason why they're both Hall of Famers, or going to be Hall of Famers in the sense of Eli Manning, is because they shined when the lights were brightest. I mean, that's simply put.
Same thing with Troy Aikman.
Troy
Yep.
Aikman too. I'm not saying he was an average quarterback. He was an above average quarterback, but he wasn't elite. He really wasn't. He was elite in January. That's for sure.
You know what, Mike? You know what was interesting to me is we had this game that happened, right? Because we're going to talk about NFL talk. Had a game that happened on Thursday Night Football. You know, you see the 49ers getting decimated by injury here.
Yeah, they keep winning.
And what happens, man? They ink out a win, dude. Like, God, man. I didn't see this one coming, Mike. I didn't think that they were going to be able to go ahead and defeat the Chargers, but they did.
Oh, they played the Rams last night.
I'm sorry, the Rams, yeah.
24-21 in overtime. It was a game in which the Niners got out to a big lead early on. Rams came from behind, sent it to overtime, and San Francisco escapes with the victory. Mac Jones. I mean, is there a quarterback controversy going to brew in San Francisco? Because you can make
What's
the
his
argument.
record? What's his record when he's starting with 49ers?
He's undefeated, if I'm not mistaken. I think he's
3-0. 3-0.
So you look at that, and this isn't a situation where Dak Prescott gets hurt, and then Cooper Rush comes in, and you know that Cooper Rush is the backup, right? You know he's the backup, and you're going to have Dak Prescott come under center again after Cooper. You know, Dak is ready to go, right?
Yeah.
A couple
Well,
years
what they
ago,
did
that
with
happened.
Cooper is they dumbed down the playbook. You know, just keep it simple.
Right.
Yeah.
But going from Brock Purdy to Mac Jones, you can make the argument that Mac Jones is a better quarterback, or just as good of a quarterback as Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy is nothing special. Brock Purdy came out hot. No one had ever planned for him. No different than CJ Stroud, right? They come out and they get a lot of wins. They're hot. Mac Jones, interesting point. I saw this article yesterday about Mac Jones. And it was talking about the fact that the time when Mac Jones was drafted, I believe, was the same year that Trey Lance was drafted in the NFL, right?
Yeah.
Niners chose famously with the third pick in the draft, moving up to get Trey Lance. Who was the other quarterback that they considered?
Who?
Mac Jones.
Mac Jones.
So isn't that funny how they ended up taking Trey Lance back in 2021? It didn't work out, but the other quarterback that they had an affinity for back in 2021 was Mac Jones. Mac Jones available as a free agent. They went and got him, and now they're winning with that guy. Meantime, Trey Lance is basically out of the NFL. It's interesting, man. The decisions that are made on draft day change forever. Look at the Cowboys. When the Cowboys drafted Micah Parsons, who do they want to get? They wanted to get a lockdown cornerback that year.
Yeah.
J.C. Horn, Patrick Surtain. Cowboys drafted at number 12. They took Micah Parsons. Why? Because Surtain and Horn were taking the 2 spots above him. Both of those guys are now studs in the NFL. And what do the Cowboys need? They need secondary help. And they don't got it.
Big time. Yeah.
They don't got it. They got Micah Parsons, who was the runner-up for Defensive Player of the Year twice, but it wasn't enough for him to stay in Dallas. It's interesting to see what's going on with the NFL right now, with a lot of what's going on with the player movement. I wonder if Mac Jones is going to make a dent into that whole Brock Purdy thing.
You know what? What does that say about Jerry's mindset, though, Mike? When we talk about Micah Parsons here, he's gone on record and he's said that he doesn't believe that Micah Parsons was worth the amount of money that he got, ultimately by the Green Bay Packers. Jerry didn't want to pay him. So
Right.
what does that say about Jerry Jones' mindset? He's willing to go ahead and pay who? Dakota, Dak Prescott, the quarterback position. He's willing to pay CD as a wide receiver. But when it comes to defensive prowess on the team, he's not willing to go ahead and open up that checkbook for defensive players. Does that mean that he's willing to settle for lesser players, or he just doesn't want to pay anybody? What is it?
Well, it's one of those things where he's just so stubborn because, and I think that he thinks the same way a lot of fans think. A lot of fans think, well, you're under contract, you should just play your contract out. And NFL players want to have that next contract already lined up to go. Look what happened to Tyreek Hill. How much money is Tyreek Hill going to make next year? Not a dime. Why? He didn't have a guaranteed contract, Joe.
Yeah.
So, because he did not have a guaranteed contract, Tyreek Hill, who goes down with a dislocated knee this past week on Monday Night Football, might not make a dime next year. So, these players want to prevent that from happening to them. They want to get paid ahead of time. No different than you see these extensions going on in the NBA right now. We got to get into that about Jeremy Sohan in a minute. Do you get ahead of the game? Do you get it? And that's where Jerry fails, because Jerry is like, well, we want them to prove it on the field, yada, yada, yada. He doesn't want to pay for promise. He wants to pay for performance, right? But if you pay for performance, guess what? You're paying full retail price. You're paying full retail price because, well, now they can say, hey, scoreboard, I am performance.
Yeah.
Paying for potential is hoping that they get better and that they achieve their potential, right?
What is that saying that I say, Mike? Women lie, people lie, the numbers don't lie. And Micah
Right.
Parsons was putting up some good numbers.
Yeah, he was. And so, but he didn't want to pay him because, and if you want to make the argument that you don't want to pay a defensive end / linebacker that money because it's not a game changer when it comes to things, you can make that argument. But what you can't do is make that argument after that person demands a trade and then leaves. Because at that point, it just seems like sour grapes. It just seems like you're just talking out of your ass at that point.
Look what Rafa says. He says, remember when Jerry signed Brandon Carr for $250 million? He was a bust, and that's when Jerry started to be cheap with free agents, especially on defense.
Yeah, well, you have to ask yourself the question, do you pay for promise? And let's kind of dovetail into the Spurs right now, because I made a comment on Twitter a couple of days ago, because you and I have debated what is the value of Jeremy Sohan to this team.
Yeah.
Dollar-wise. And don't get me wrong, there are a lot of players out there who, a lot of fans out there who love Jeremy Sohan for one reason or another. When he first got drafted out of Baylor, a lot of Spurs fans were like, oh, he could be the next Kawhi Leonard. No, the next Kawhi Leonard could be Steph
No,
Curry.
they said that he was going to be the next Dennis Rodman because he colors his hair, Mike. He
Right.
plays good defense. Mira, Jeremy. But you know what the brother can't do? He can't shoot for shit.
He can't. And we see these videos of him trying and all that stuff, but the guy always gets hurt. The guy always
It's a broken shot, Mike. It's a broken shot.
It is a broken shot, right? But look at this. I'm taking a look right now at what the Miami Heat did this week. Shams Charania of ESPN reporting earlier this week that the Heat signed forward Nikola Jovic, not Jokic, Nikola
Jovic.
who was a late first round draft pick by the Heat 4 years ago. They signed him to a 4-year extension to stay with the team at $62.4 million.
Why?
That's $15.5 million per year for a guy that averaged 10.7 points per game. The guy missed 72 games due to injury in the last 2 years. We complain that Sohan missed 48 games due to injury this past 2 years. He missed 72 games, and he's getting $15.5 million. But you know what it's doing? It could be setting the market for that particular class, the class of 2022. Before the season starts, the Spurs can extend Jeremy Sohan. So Jeremy Sohan If he doesn't get a contract between now and 3 weeks from today, he plays this season as a contract year, and basically, if he gets hurt again, Joe, that could seriously affect him, right?
He's gonna be hurt. He gets hurt every damn year, Mike. It's his back or something else. They sit him out. Same thing with Vassell. The two things that you can count on every single year, that Vassell and both Sohan are going to be hurt at some point in the season.
And
You can
already,
set your watch by it.
already Sohan is hurt right now. He's hurt right now,
The season hasn't even started yet, and he's already hurt.
playing for Poland. He's hurt right now. Now, I'm not saying he's injured. There's a difference between being hurt and injured, right? Hurt means you can play. Injured means you can't play. Two different things.
No. Oh, look, Hanover Fist is asking where's Fernandez is at. I'll answer your question. He's at basically right now he's supporting one of his fellow Marines. He's going ahead and going to a promotion ceremony. So he's out there supporting one of his buddies. So he's not here with us today.
That's amazing. Mario Cavasso saying, hate to break it to y'all, but Sohan will be offered 18 to 20 million per year from the Spurs. Look at the historic records. They pay their own.
He ain't worth that.
But that's the going rate, Joe.
Send his ass to China, like Rafa says. Get him out of here.
There's going to be a team that wants him.
Well, let them deal with him. He can't shoot. What are you going to go ahead and overpay for a player that can play defense and an okay defense? Let's be honest. Sohan is a good defender.
Mm-hmm.
He's the best defender that the Spurs probably have. But it doesn't mean that he's elite. He's good. I'll give him that. He's good. He's a very good defender.
Where is he in the pecking order of importance for the Spurs' future? Okay, Wemby's 1.
Yeah.
Castle, Harper are 2 and 3, along with they've already shown that they're going to be paying De'Aaron Fox. So those are the 4 priorities for the team. Would you say that Sohan's 5? 6?
No. He shouldn't be that high on their list. I mean, he's very replaceable. You can always go out there and get a veteran that's going to go ahead and probably play decent enough defense. But on the plus side of that, what you're losing a little bit on the defensive end, you're going to gain on the offensive end, meaning that when that veteran player is open, more than likely they can knock down an open shot, and it's going to go ahead and have teams respect him when he's beyond the arc, wide open. They're going to have to come out and defend. It's going to give you better floor spacing out there on the court. With Sohan, what do teams do? They sag off of him. Show me. Go ahead. Take that all day. You're going to miss it. He ain't gonna make it.
So when people say he's improved his three-point shooting, well, I mean, it's still bad. But you look at that, he's shooting that percentage wide open. No one defends his 3.
No,
and if he starts making threes, guess what's going to happen? People are going to start defending him, and now he's going to learn how to shoot with a hand in the face, because he does it right now. He shoots a 3-point shot that is given to him by every single team. You put an arm in there, and now it changes the dynamic of what he's doing. Looking at his stats from last year, people are like, "Oh, he improved his shot, Joe. He improved his shot. His 3-point shooting, Joe." In his second year was let's see, I have it right here. His 3-point shooting in his second year was 30.8%. Do you know what it was in his third year? 30.8%. Okay, so for those who don't know, respectable is 34, good is 36, anything north of 38 is amazing. 30.4, 30.8 is awful. For his career, he's a 29% 3-point shooter. He doesn't have a good shot, and he's just not a shooter. And it's one of those things where defensively he's a very good defender. And if you look at the statistics, the metrics that determine if you're a good defender or not, he's not elite, but he's very good.
He's all right.
He's all right.
Good.
But when you have to deal with the fact that the Spurs had to sign Steph Castle to an extension, Harper to an extension at some point, Wemby to an extension. They've already signed De'Aaron Fox, the biggest deal ever as a Spur. I mean,
what's Sohan's name going to be?
His name might very well be gone.
Yeah.
Unless the NBA jacks up the NBA salary cap, dude. JHNS Beast comes out to us on our chat, powered by PF Chang's Lock and Terra, and says he'd be a McDonald's worker if he was 6'2". Yeah, Jordan
Oh,
saying
dude.
29% on the career, but that's weighed down by the fact that it was 24.5% as a rookie. So can't Sohan be better than Tiago Splitter? That's funny.
You know what? Tiago wasn't all that bad. He was all right.
Yeah.
He was serviceable. He was just a role player, and he knew his role. you
Yeah,
know?
like Fab Alberto back in the day.
Yeah.
Hey, what do you think about what's going on with Jeff Garcia's Jeff Garcia from Ken's Five and from Locked On Spurs? I love the tweets that was going on because I believe it was former Mayor Henry Cisneros that was on the Blitz with Jason Minix and Joe Reinagel talking about Project Marvel. There was two things that I found interesting about what he had to say. One was say that it's a foregone conclusion that San Antonio and Austin will become a metroplex. That it'll be basically a single city at one point. And then going on to say that the Spurs losing or San Antonio losing the Spurs is actually a possibility, and that there are other cities salivating at that idea. Again, this was on San Antonio Sports Star, The Blitz with Jason and Joe. Cisneros is an interesting character because he was a very popular mayor back in the 80s and 90s. Very popular. The guy was super popular.
If you know, you know. He was wrapped in controversy too.
Yeah, Linda Medler was his mistress back in the day. I'll never forget that name. The Medler family who owned that big jewelry, that big old jewelry shop there by North Star Mall. Henry Cisneros is also the reason why the Alamo Dome was built, on the premise that it was going to bring an NFL franchise to San Antonio, and it didn't happen. So it's kind of weird that he's coming out here still in the public eye talking about this Project Marvel and things like that. It's kind of like he shouldn't be the one talking about this, because although the Alamo Dome years later has been a success and it's better than what was there in the past, and it did bring Final Fours and it did bring the Alamo Bowl and it did do all that stuff, it's still one of those things where it's like, yeah, but it didn't bring an NFL franchise. It brought it for like 3 games back in the day when the Saints came because of Hurricane Katrina. But he's out there saying two things. He's saying that the Spurs leaving, that the NBA would be okay with it. And, and that it might go to, that the Spurs, by and large, could go to Austin. That's where the Spurs minority partners are from Austin. And that if it's John Dyer, of Exit 7, who sometimes fills in for us, I like the comment that he made on Jeff's thread by saying it wouldn't even be considered a relocation. That if the Spurs move from San Antonio to Austin, it's not a relocation because geographically it's the same city. So the idea that San Antonio and Austin are a burgeoning metroplex, he's correct about. 10 years from now, San Antonio and Austin will be no different than Dallas-Fort Worth. Dallas and Fort Worth are two different cities with lots of little suburbs in the middle, right? There's Addison and there's Arlington and all Denton and to the north and all that stuff. San Antonio's that way too. Look at the corridor. Back when we were growing up, Joe, San Antonio and Austin was an hour and a half apart. Now the city of San Antonio ends at exit 172. And what do you got? You got Schertz. You got Selma. You got Cibolo. You got Garden Ridge. You got New Braunfels. Then you got San Marcos. Then you got Buda. You got Kyle. Then you got South Austin. Dude, only about 45 minutes separates South Austin from Northeast San Antonio. We are a metroplex.
You know what? That's funny, though, because we've been saying this on the show for quite some time, right? That the two cities are starting to converge. And at one point in time, it's going to be just like the Dallas metroplex. It's all going to be one big city, It's just an extension of San Antonio. The interesting thing here is we've had other people that have gone on and said, oh, that's a bunch of bullshit and this and that, and don't listen to them. And you know what's funny about that is if the Spurs weren't interested in the demographic, right, of Austin, like if there wasn't such a big fan base there, why would they be so interested in having games at the Moody Center every year? Because it's profitable for them. And not only that, it's kind of showing a good gesture, a gesture of good faith, saying, we appreciate you, Austin. We want to go ahead and maybe one day, work a little bit closer together, because that area between San Antonio and Austin, I know there's a lot of places that have already been built there, buildings, as far as like businesses and whatnot. in between us both, Austin and San Antonio. There's not a lot of real estate out there. But if you were to build an arena somewhere in the middle, if you build it, they will come. And in
Yeah,
between San Antonio and Austin, it would be a desirable location. But I understand that's only if Project Marvel doesn't get voted on. If Project Marvel is a no-go, what do you think the Spurs are going to do? You think they're going to want to build a new arena downtown? They're going to be like, you
right.
know what? F that. Let's go ahead and build it between San Antonio and Austin.
And imagine if that was the case. If it was New Braunfels or the Circuit of Americas or someplace around there, how tragic that would be. Because 35 is a nightmare to get up and
Oh,
down.
traffic. Yeah.
But it made perfect business sense for the Spurs to go over to Austin and make those overtures. As much as Spurs fans hate that, San Antonio has on lockdown Corpus Christi, Laredo, Del Rio, the Valley, right?
Mm-hmm.
I know that because I do business in South Texas, and I will go to a sports bar or a restaurant or a taqueria in Corpus or in Harlingen or Edinburgh, and you go in there and you can tell who they cheer for based on the decor that they have out there, right? You see two colors out there or two teams out there the most. You see Dallas Cowboys blue and you see the silver and black of the Spurs. Especially in Corpus, man. It's diehard. San Antonio's media market number 32. Number 36 is Austin. That's a media market that is practically identical to San Antonio. And it's just 45 minutes away. For the Spurs to go over there and not only get their fandom, but also to get the money from them, because again, the Spurs get money from the Dell Corporation, because Michael Dell is one of the owners of the Spurs. You have money coming in from all these Austin Airbnb and all these other companies out there in the Austin area. It makes perfect sense to go, but it's also playing footsies with somebody who can actually take your team. You know, they're dancing with what's that
Playing
phrase called?
footsies underneath the table with the Sancha.
I wouldn't go that far, but they're dancing with Mr. Steal Your Girl.
You have your girl next to you and you're playing footsies across the table with the Sancha. That's what it is, Mike. I ain't afraid to say it.
It's just people think that the dynamic is not there, right? You look at Dallas Fort Worth. Fort Worth and Dallas are two completely different cities.
Yeah.
San Antonio and Austin are the same way. That a metroplex doesn't mean that they have to be two identical cities. It's not Minneapolis, St. Paul, which is basically the same city times two. It is basically two different cities that just happen to be growing into each other, because there used to be that separation, right? It used to be South Park Meadows was in the middle of nowhere back in the 90s, and now it's you blink and you miss it, right? It's now a shopping center, for crying out loud. There's a rooms to go there. But it's fascinating what former Mayor Henry Cisneros is saying. But look at the people that are jumping in front of it. Mayor Cisneros, Mayor Nuremberg, the blast from the past, Julian Castros of the world are coming out for it. And meantime, Gina Ortiz-Jones is right there as the new mayor trying to stall all this. And the one person saying, I'm so here with you, Gina, is who, Joe?
You say it. I ain't going to say it.
Our good friend Mike Taylor, man. Mike Taylor, Jesus. In the building with Mike Taylor and Rudy J. I'm still here with you, Gina.
No, man. This is funny. When I saw this by the San Antonio, well, not San Antonio, by the News 4 San Antonio here.
Yeah.
And this is something that I had brought up the other day, right? And I said, why is Project Marvel so important to San Antonio? And here you go. Declining Riverwalk tourism. For nearly a century, it says the San Antonio Riverwalk has been the lifeblood of the city. But ever since the pandemic, foot traffic has been hard to come by. You know what will go ahead and bring that foot traffic back? A great entertainment and sports district downtown San Antonio.
An entertainment district. And, the Riverwalk has become a bit of a joke.
Dated. It's become dated, Mike.
Well, I mean, it used to be a very nice place back in the day to go out, have dinner, and then it became very commercialized. It became, it was kind of cool when Planet Hollywood showed up for a while there, and then Hard Rock and all that stuff. It was like, oh, we have a Hard Rock. Okay, that's cool. But then everything became that. It became Landry's. It became Dick's Last Resort. It became, every chain barbecue place that you can think of. County Line, all that stuff. There's nothing romantic about it. There's nothing about it that is. It's no different than going out to eat on I-10. It's just on the Riverwalk. We were at Fort Lauderdale over the weekend, right? We were in Miami and Fort Lauderdale. Fort Lauderdale has what's called what they call it their Riverwalk. It's called the Fort Lauderdale Riverwalk. It was beautiful. Now it's more beautiful because it's scenic and because it's natural, right? I don't know how natural the Riverwalk is. I have never really figured that out, right? I'm sure there is a river that feeds into it. The water doesn't come from nowhere, right? But when I went to the Riverwalk there in Fort Lauderdale this past weekend, I didn't see any chains, Joe. It was mom and pop restaurants back and forth, and that's the way it should have been from the get-go. So if they're extending this out, it better be that way.
You know what they need to do, and they haven't talked about it, but if you're going to build Project Marvel, right where it's at some point you would want to consider extending that Riverwalk like you're talking about, right? Extend it so we can go ahead and have what? Riverboat barges, right? Come right up and drop you off. So you can go ahead and just go from your hotel on the Riverwalk or wherever you're at down there and get to the sports district, right? The entertainment district right away. You know, make it easy, make it easily accessible. Either you can walk there or you can get on a riverboat and get there real quick. And you know what that's going to do? After all these events are over, people are going to go ahead and spill back into the Riverwalk there and go up and down the banks and what? Pump money into those businesses once again.
Most definitely.
Go to those restaurants. Go to those bars.
Most definitely. Rafa comes out and says overpriced and crappy Mexican food on the Riverwalk.
No
Salsa
lies
taquerias
detected.
are a lot better. But the problem is salsa taquerias are not a place you don't want to take a date. You know, the girls aren't be like, oh, getting hot and bothered by going to a taqueria on the south side. I know
Chica. Chica ain't gonna eat there, Mike. She's gonna say, I know what she's gonna say, Michael, I'm not going there.
and also taquerias are like 2,000 calorie meals, man. And no one wants to walk to the Riverwalk after having a big old Mexican meal and having to take a dump 20 minutes later. No, man.
I love how
good.
Chica's like that. We call you Mike, and Chica refers to you as Michael. That's how she goes. Michael.
True.
She's like, I can already hear her, Michael. We're not eating there. I can already hear her saying that. And if you know what she's gonna want to do, she will want to go to the Riverwalk, and she's gonna want you to take her somewhere that's unique and nice.
But what's it called? Sam says, hey, if your girl has no problem going to a taqueria on the south side, then she's a real one. No, that means she's a torta. That's just all that means.
Oh, God. No, it's because this is what's happened. I don't think they understand the story. So really, full disclosure here. Chica's a good gal. She's cool and everything. It's just Mike has taken her too many times to these Mexican restaurants and she just got burnt out on them. So now she's like, take me somewhere better.
Yeah. Well, she wants to have that she doesn't want those restaurants to be behind the kitchen door. You know, remember back on KSAT back in the day? That was amazing.
Was it the blue plate? That's when you had a clean establishment.
Oh,
right?
that's became a WAI, the blue plate special. You know who gets a blue plate? You know who has good scores when it comes to cleanliness, good food, good ambiance? Our good friends over at P.F. Chang's La Cantera. They sponsor today's show. They sponsor our chat. Let's give some love to P.F. Chang's La Cantera.
P.F. Chang's La Cantera, San Antonio's premier destination for dinner, date night, or happy hour. Enjoy one of their signature dishes, such as the Singapore street noodles, sesame chicken, or Chang's spicy chicken, or their infamous Chang's chicken lettuce wraps, which are delicious, by the way. You can enjoy all this while you're dining in an Asian-inspired atmosphere. And make sure to enjoy the new outdoor patio and try some of P.F. Chang's signature cocktails and drinks during happy hour, Monday through Friday from 3 to 6 p.m. P.F. Chang's La Cantera is a proud sponsor of the Area 210 podcast.
Again, they do happy hour from 3 to 6 every day. And on Wednesdays, it's Wednesday Wines Day, half off bottles of champagne and wine on Wednesdays at P.F. Chang's La Cantera. Go tell Sean we said hi. Joe, what are you showing us there, man?
Oh, yeah, I was going to get into this. I'm going to tell you, boys, we're all going to have to get together now because you know what they're bringing back at McDonald's? Guess
Monopoly.
Mike.
Monopoly, I heard it's coming
They're bringing it back. This is our year, you know, like the Cowboys say, this is our year. We're going to have to get together because what do they give away? They give away like $1 million, right? Or something like that. And everybody always has the same pieces. And then somebody gets a a rare piece and you can add it to the board. Well, Monopoly is coming back to McDonald's on October the 6th. So
Now
you
I
can go ahead.
heard,
Mhm.
I heard that this Monopoly is digital, using the
Yeah.
app. So you're not going to be having those stickers walking around going, "Oh, St. James Place, I already got that one." That it's all
Yeah.
digital.
It's all digital now. But you know what? If we all band together, maybe we can win something.
Joe, go to my Twitter account.
Sure.
WOAI Don Harris from WOAI posted this, saying that it is retweeted this. Zach Hedrick also tweeted this from KBB when they had their Thursday Night Lights on CWSA, calling it the play of the year when it comes to high school
I saw it.
football. Kolobi Rond of, I believe, of Churchill, taking on Clark in the Gucci Bowl. Take a look at this run.
Whoop.
Whoa! And he's still going. Can he full screen that?
I don't know if it'll let me. There we are.
Oh, let's play from the beginning. Let's play from the beginning. This is great.
Sanchez, the new quarterback for Churchill, hands to Ron. Nice cut move. And
Wow.
But was the knee down, Mike? I need instant replay.
Well, there is a replay. There's a replay from the other angle,
Goodness,
Slow
what did he
motion.
just do?
courtesy of CWSA. Keep it going, Joe. Keep it going.
Yeah, I want to go ahead and kill the audio.
Kill the audio. Okay, so first of all, the Gucci Bowl is a long-standing tradition between what were the two richest schools back in the day, Churchill and Clark. But look how pumped up this guy is, man. Churchill beat the living crap out of Clark at that point. But look at this leap. No, he was staying up the entire time, Joe. But I like the angle that they have on the other side here. This angle right here shows it all. Leaping over the 5'5" defender, man.
Oh, I don't know, Mike. That knee looked like it touched the ground.
Hey, it counted for 6, man. That's all that matters, man. Thank you to CW35 for that video there, man. Thursday Night Lights,
Highlight
man.
of the year.
Yeah,
Highlight of the year.
fantastic. You know, we had. I like the comment that Don Harris from News 4 San Antonio saying that he's been covering high school football for a long, long time. He considered that to be one of the best plays he'd ever seen. That was a good play, man. Very, very, very good play. Joe, how?
Oh my God! Look at Tony Ornelas. Look what he says. Chica Michael, the river walk is so dirty. Cuban is right. My God, man, y'all are on one today. They said that we had a mess segue for
Yes, for the PF Chang's.
PF Chang's. It wasn't as good. It wasn't as good.
Yeah.
But you know what? If you want to eat somewhere good right in town, you want to take your lady out and you want to eat somewhere really nice, you know what you got to do? You got to make more money. You want to make more money? You got to call Mike.
Yeah, call area 210-508-0369. 210-508-0369. I deal with financial services. Been doing it for 19 years. Have any questions about retirement accounts? Questions about if you need to roll over some money, life insurance, long-term care, all of that stuff, give me a call at 210-508-0369. Joe, Taylor Swift has a new album.
I
Came
saw
out
that.
today. It's going to be all over Spotify. It's going to be crazy. We were talking about that. It's weird, man. The whole Travis Kelce thing is weird. Travis Kelce is playing the worst football he's had in his entire career. He needs to hang it up at this point.
He's washed, bro. He's done.
He is washed. But I mean, the New Heights is a really good podcast, and what he's doing with SNL and all that stuff, he's got a career. Jason Kelce too, man. For what Jason Kelce does with ESPN, all the things that he's doing on the broadcasting front, they have futures ahead of them, pretty bright.
JHNSB, Mike gambled away my money because you were over there at the casinos.
Joe, it's going to be a quick show today, so I'm going to call up to the NFL games, and we'll wrap up with this our weekly predictions. We had a pretty good week last week. We'll tally them up and put them all together for Monday's show.
Yep.
Last night, I'm going to give myself a loss because I would have thought the Rams would have taken that game. Joe, who would you have?
I think we both picked the Rams to win that one.
Okay, so let's go ahead and talk about this week's games on the NFL Week 5. Here we go. Vikings at Browns. This is in Cleveland. Vikings with a very good defense. The Browns with a very good defense. No offense. They're going to have Dylan Gabriel at quarterback, the rookie, coming in, taking on The Vikings, who have a very good offense but no defense. Vikings favored by 3.5. On the road, Carson Wentz still under center for the Vikings, right? Give me the Vikings minus 3.5.
Vikings, you think they're going to cover the 3.5?
They'll win and cover the 3.5.
I'm going to have to go with you on that one too. Unfortunately, this Cleveland Browns offense is no bueno, man.
Right.
Their defense is all right, but the offense is just hot, stinky garbage, man. I think Vikings will win, and I'll go ahead and say they're going to cover 3.5.
Raiders, Colts. Colts coming off their first loss of the season. They were fighting the Rams pretty well there, and then they lost at the end. Raiders 1-3 coming in. Colts favored by 6.5 points. I like the Colts in this game a lot. I think that's a very, very solid team. I think Indiana Jones is going to keep it rolling. They'll go to 4-1. Give me the Colts.
Yeah, I got the Colts. I think they'll go ahead and be able to cover the 6.5.
Giants at the Saints. Saints are winless right now. Saints favored by 2.5 points. Now keep in mind, Jackson Dart is under center for the Giants. Had a very good opening game to start his career. Malik Neighbors, their star wide receiver, is out for the year with a torn ACL. Is this the game that the Saints get, Joe? I mean, because the Saints are going to go 0-17, right? So because of that, reluctantly, because they balled out against the Bills on the road,
yeah,
I'm going to take the Saints.
I can't believe you're going to take the Saints to win. You think they're going to be able to cover the 2.5?
2.5. They'll win by a field goal. Yeah.
I'm going to go with the Giants, dude. I think the Saints will make it interesting, but ultimately the Giants will go ahead and put them away. I think it's going to be more than 3. I'd say that the Giants will be able to go ahead and cover the overage here because I think they're going to win by at least a touchdown.
Cowboys, Jets. Cowboys favored by 2.5 points on the road. Again, the Cowboys are a different team when they're playing at Jerry World than they are on the road. But this is a Jets team that's 0-4. Jets team that lost to Miami on Monday Night Football. I'm going to take the Cowboys because the Jets are coming off a short week. Playing that Monday Night Football game, they don't get in until Tuesday. Cowboys have basically a day and a half of extra rest. Give me the Cowboys.
Unfortunately, man, I think the Jets will take this one against the Cowboys. I love me the Cowboys, but look at how this is the thing. This is the Cowboys and how stupid it is at the way that they play. They played a really good game, right, against Green Bay. Ultimately came to a tie. But it seems like sometimes they play up to the talent level that's on the other side of the field, right? Jets are coming into town. I think this is a team that they're going to underestimate. They're going to take lightly, and it's going to cost them. I think the Jets are going to be able to beat the Cowboys in Jerry World.
Broncos, Eagles. Eagles are still undefeated. 3.5-point favorites against the Broncos. Sean Payton coming into town. Do the Broncos have enough firepower to take out the Eagles? The Eagles have been, playing with fire this year. Saquon Barkley having a down year. Jalen Hurts having a down year, but what do they do, Joe? They keep on winning games. Look at the games that the Broncos have lost this year. The Broncos are 2-2, right? The games that they lost were to the Chargers on the road and the Colts on the road. They lost 23-20. They lost 29-28. This is a team that's always in it. So I'm gonna do a split on this. I'm going to take the Eagles to win, but the Broncos to cover that 3.5.
I think the Eagles are going to win. I think the Eagles will win, and I think that the Eagles are going to be able to win by at least a field goal. It's going to be a close game, so take the Eagles by 3.5.
Dolphins coming off their first win of the season, taking on the Panthers. You never know what you're going to get with the Panthers. You never know. It's a 1.5-point spread. Panthers are by 1.5. Who you got?
This is the battle of the bad teams here. You know what? I'm gonna think that the Dolphins will go ahead and take this one because you know what? That Dolphins head coach, man, he looks scared, Mike. He don't look like he's having fun out there on the field. He needs to have this win to keep his job. So whatever it takes, man, he's gonna have to get that team to win so he can keep on living another day. So I take the Dolphins, but I think this is gonna be at least the Dolphins by 2.5.
I reluctantly take the Dolphins.
By how much? 2.5? You think they're going to win by a field goal?
Yeah, they better win by field goal at that point. Ravens taking on the Texans. This is in Baltimore. The Texans are favored by 2.5 because, well, Lamar Jackson's not playing because he has a hamstring injury, out 2 to 3 weeks. Cooper Rush quarterbacking for the Baltimore Ravens this week. Let's God, that Texans offensive line sucks. That running game sucks. Give me the Ravens, man. Cooper Rush won 5 games when Dak went out. Why can't he do it again?
On this one, I'm taking Texans, man. Texans will be able to win by not a touchdown, by a field goal. At least 2.5. I think they'll be able to cover that spread. At least 2.5 there. Texans will find a way to win. I think it's going to be the battle of the quarterbacks. CJ Stroud is a better quarterback than Cooper Rush.
Talking about teams that suck, the winless Tennessee Titans going into Arizona to take on the Cardinals. The Cardinals started the season strong, not so much recently. They've lost back-to-back games, but they're back at home. I'm saying reluctantly because I'm looking at the spread here. 7.5. Give me the Cardinals to win, but the Titans to cover.
I'm going to go with that. I think the Cardinals will win, but the Titans will cover. Titans are bad, dude. They're a bad team. They're going to be right up there with the Saints.
Yeah. Okay. I got to wrap things up and get back to work, Ben. But rapid fire: Seahawks, Buccaneers. Seahawks here by 4.5 at home. Give me the Buccaneers to win outright. Moneyline upset, win, cover.
Got you on that one. Buccaneers over the Seahawks. I'm going to go ahead and say they cover at least. They win by a touchdown.
Lions at the Bengals. Lions here by 10.5. No Joe Burrow, but they're on the road playing outdoors. Give me the Lions to win, but the Bengals to cover. That's a lot of points to cover on the road.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that one. Exact same scenario here. Lions will go ahead and beat the Bengals.
Commanders, Chargers on the road. 2-2 Commanders going to the 3-1 Chargers. Chargers favored by 3.5 points. Man, the Commanders might fall to 2-3 when it's all said and done. And I think that's going to happen. I think the Chargers are going to win and cover.
Yep, same here. Chargers win and cover.
Bills hosting the Patriots. Bills favored by 8.5 points. The Bills are undefeated. The Patriots are 2-2.
Oh, man.
I'm going to take the Bills to win, but the Patriots to cover. The Patriots kind of feisty these days, man. There's just something about them that is, they're rounding into form a little bit.
I think I'm going to go with the Patriots on this one to upset the Bills and hand them the first loss of the season.
Wow.
I think the Patriots will be able to do enough to win by at least a field goal.
Monday Night Football, Joe. Kansas City Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce going into Jacksonville, who has been hot. Jaguars 3-1. Is it possible the Jaguars are going to go 4-1 and the Chiefs go 2-3? Say it ain't so, Joe. I've seen this happen lots of times. You and I were beginning to believe in the Jacksonville Jaguars. But, Joe, this is Patrick Mahomes. Give me the Chiefs covering.
I have this one circled as my big upset of the week. Give me Jacksonville straight up money line over the Chiefs.
Very nice, Joe. Joe, I got to get back to work, my man. I got to let you go. We will be back. Normal shows next week. We'll back up and running. And we'll hope to have Fernandez on next Friday.
All right. We'll see you boys. Have a great weekend. We're out. Peace.
Y'all take care.